That right there is the QR call-in. All you got to do, use your phone, scan that. You can get in on the conversation like our buddy from Eastvale, California.
Joey.
There he is, JoJo.
Joey.
How are you, buddy?
What's going on, Joe?
I'm doing great, Scott. How are you doing, man?
We're doing good. We're doing good. A Lions big victory today. What are your thoughts, Joe?
Big comeback for Jared Goff, I think, was one of the keys that we need to take moving forward.
Yeah, I was going to get to that.
I think we lost you a little bit.
We got Joe?
You got me there?
Oh,
Yep.
yeah. Now we can hear you.
Yep.
All right. Cool.
Joe, let me give you the Roar trivia question of the week.
All right.
Who holds the most interceptions thrown by a Detroit Lion quarterback in a season? Is it A, Jeff Comlow, B, Bobby Lane, C, John Kitna, or is it D, Joey Harrington? And I did tell Corey earlier, Stafford and Gall, neither one of those two are on that list. Yep. Who do you think it could be, Joe?
You know what, Scott? You had me stumped on that one. I had to look it up, so I'm sorry. If you don't want me to be a spoiler, I won't say. But I was going to say Scott Mitchell because that's one of the most hated quarterbacks for me.
That's a good pick. As much as he threw in the run and shoot, you would think that he might have been up there.
Yeah, he threw the ball all over the place and just was intercepted time after time. I hated that guy. So, do you want me to be a spoiler, or maybe I'll just hold on?
Nope, don't spoil it.
Don't spoil it.
Don't spoil it.
Okay, I won't spoil it.
I'm glad.
But that was a good
surprise.
What's that?
It was a surprise to me. I had no idea.
Well, I bet you thought more recent quarterbacks would have been on that list.
I was going to pick Goff and Stafford tied.
Well, actually, Joe, you know what? Give me your pick. I want to hear it.
You know what? I was probably going to go with, like I said, Scott Mitchell was going to be my pick, but he wasn't one of your four. What were the last two of your four? Because it wasn't
the last two of the four were John Kitna and Joey Harrington.
I would have gone with Harrington because he played the longest out of any of those guys, with the exception of Lane. But I would have gone with Harrington.
Okay, well, do you see? Is there a certain play that stuck out to you this week, Joe, for the Lions?
Not any one particular play. I thought it was really important for Goff to come back and have a solid game. To me, last week it looked like he had an injury to his hand or something. It seemed like a bunch of the balls were coming out of his hand like injured ducks, and it just they were getting tipped at the line or whatever. And he just looked scared. And there was one of the things that I didn't like about Goff when he was in LA, is he seemed to not be able to come back after a bad game, and it led to people thinking he was soft. And I think since he's come to Detroit, he's really turned that whole concept around for the perception that people have of him, because I think he's toughened up a lot, and he showed it today. I mean, he freaking came out and he threw the ball with conviction, and he made good reads and threw the ball around all over the place. I thought Amon-Ra's that guy is just amazing to me, because he is able to get space and get free from his defenders and find a way to have Goff give him a ball in a position where he can be the only guy that catches it. Jameson Williams had a couple actually really big catches that got them moving down the field, which was nice. Nice to see him get involved. And Jahmyr Gibbs was, outstanding. And, what can you say about the tandem of Gibbs and Montgomery? Those two are just freaking beasts running the ball up the middle. So, but I would say the biggest takeaway, my player of the game, is right here, Jared Goff today. Jared Goff had to come back and have a good game, and he did just that. And I don't know if you guys saw this, but today's game, the Lions set a record for the most yards gained from scrimmage in the history of the Detroit Lions football club. So that was
that's a long history.
Yeah.
that is a long history. It's exactly right. So I was glad to see that.
Before I let you go, Joe, the question of the week is, with the Lions putting up so many points, the offense looks good. Do you think Ben Johnson could maybe find his way out the door to greener pastures, maybe as a head coach? Some people might think of it as greener pastures. I think he needs to stay put. Like Tony said earlier, not everybody's chalked up to be a head coach. What are your thoughts? You think he could be looking for something after the season?
That's a good question, Scott. First of all, I want to say, nice hat, Corey. I like that.
Yeah, it was a gift.
You do notice that he's wearing
you seem like you're wearing it proudly, though, Corey.
Yeah.
It was a gift, so I didn't purchase it, but it was a gift. So.
But you're sporting it proudly, and that's a good sign for you.
He tried to go cowboy color here, but it didn't work.
No. We need to get off of that train, man. Jump right off. It's a sinking ship, Corey.
Oh yeah.
Be careful with that one.
Don't I know it?
I hope you have your life preserver with you.
Yeah.
So as far as
any other go ahead. Did he answer the question? I didn't hear him.
No, I didn't even answer the question.
Go ahead, Joe.
You were just shocked that he had a Lions hat on.
But as far as your question is concerned, I think Brad is able to, given the interest that he had at the end of last season, if they go on to win the Super Bowl or even, get into the playoffs and have a good playoff run, and even if they don't, what the offense has showed this year so far in 10 games, is that he's an elite coordinator at the very least. So those guys like that get interest 1 year, he's certainly and has a comeback year, a second year in a row, putting up numbers, having his offense putting up numbers like they are. There's no question he's going to get offers. The question is does he want to stay within a winning program and win as much as he can? And that'll probably be determined whether or not the Lions actually do win the big game this year. So if they won the big game, I could see him staying. If they don't win, I could see it's very possible he might take his chances and go to be a head coach. I was listening to Tony's comments, and Tony made some good points. Some guys don't really seem to be that kind of a guy, and I think that's one of the things about Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell may not be the tactician that some guys are, that Holmes is, but what Dan Campbell brings is a culture. He brings a culture of belief, a culture of family, a culture of hard work, a culture of being hard nosed, and that's what people of Detroit love. I mean, we're hard working folks, and we want to see a team that goes out there and freaking buckles up their chin strap and plays smash mouth football, and when you have talent, such as the Amon-Ra's, such as the Goffs and the Jahmyr Gibbs guys, when that talent rises to their expectations, that's just icing on the cake. And so it's nice to see the Lions actually put everything together, and make this make a run through the first 10 games of the year. Like I always say, it's all about who's going to be on the field at the end of the season. And we got another ding, with Anzalone going down. It'd be interesting to see how long he's going to be out. But I would imagine he's going to be out for at least a few games. We have to see how serious his injury is. But it was nice to see Malcolm Rodriguez come back, get in the game, and make a few plays. So, and we're solid. And Brian Branch was the defensive star, but hands down today.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, good game for the Lions. Like Corey said, they're playing a JV team. Seemed like, and the Jaguars, those guys just aren't, they're just not matching up for the NFL. And it's too bad, that they can't, put out a better product. But that's what happens when you have a whole lot of injuries, and if the Lions can avoid those injuries. And that was one thing, a point I wanted to make about St. Brown. is that kid is one of the things I like most about him is his ability to get space from his defender and to not put himself in a position where he's going to get hit. And then when he catches the ball and makes a run, he avoids taking a big hit. So if he can see the defenders coming at him, you watch him. He's going to avoid taking that big hit, which would potentially create an injury for him. So he's I think that puts him up there at the top of the best receivers in the NFL.
Joel, before I let you go, I know you emailed us the other week and said you weren't going to be able to be on the show, which we didn't ever have in the show anyway. Were you able to see the Lions' victory in Napa Valley?
Yes, sir, I was.
Wow. Okay.
Yes, sir, I was. It was on. It was the late game, so it came on pretty much everywhere. Yeah. So luckily, I was able to see it up there.
Yeah.
And that was, dude, I did not think they were going to win that game. No. Until the fourth quarter, and it was like, holy bejesus, they're coming back.
Joel, thanks for coming on with us again this week. We really appreciate it. Detroit's #1 fan, Eastvale Joey. Yep. I think we need to call him Detroit's #1 fan.
Yeah.
Hey, guess what? So I was hanging out with some of my boys the other night, and, I don't know, the Lions, they always come up, because they're all from Michigan State, all of us. And they, I told them, hey, man, I do this podcast, every week or whatever. And they were interested. What do you mean? Do you have any, you have any video excerpts? And I was like, yeah, sure, I'll show one. So we pulled one up, and they thought it was just hilarious that I was wearing my chain, and and that you were calling me Eastvale Joey. So they coined a new little nickname for me. It's the same thing, but they're calling me EVJ now.
Oh, okay. Well, hey, you are definitely Detroit's #1 fan. I'll tell you.
Yeah.
In California, maybe so, right?
That's right.
I like that.
That's right.
That's right.
You gotta love it, Joey. Thanks for coming on, and we'll talk to you next week, buddy.
All right. Thanks for having me again, Scott, and we'll see you soon, buddy.
All right.
Ciao, Joe.